The emerald dress shimmered under boutique lights like a promise Harper couldn't keep. She stood frozen in Westlake Center, fingers clutching her worn tote bag, while teenage girls aimed their phones at her like weapons. Maybe she wants to try it on, one influencer whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Laughter rippled through the store. The salesperson's smirk cut deeper than words. Harper felt 12 years old again, standing in a locker room that smelled of cheap deodorant and cruelty. Then the door chimed. Declan Ward walked in, wearing a charcoal coat and the weight of a grief no amount of money could erase. His wife's death still haunted him in empty hotel rooms and silent dinner tables. He noticed Harper immediately, saw the cameras circling her like vultures. If she needs help choosing something in her size, the salesperson said with venom disguised as customer service, or if she's just admiring things far above her budget. Harper stepped backward, her breath catching. Declan moved without thinking. Years of boardroom instincts kicked in. He looked at Harper, at the dress. At the phones recording her humiliation, an idea sparked. Reckless, protective, impossible. If you can fit in that dress, he said clearly, his voice carrying across the store, I'll marry you. Silence shattered into chaos. The influencers screamed. Phones erupted. The salesperson choked on her own smugness. Harper stared at him, stunned, her cheeks burning with confusion and something else. Something that felt oddly like safety. Within 60 seconds, the clip was racing across the internet. Within an hour, Declan Ward was trending worldwide as a monster, and Harper was the girl everyone pitied. But nobody truly saw. She didn't check her phone until the bus ride home. Rain streaked the windows in thin gray lines as Seattle blurred past. Her notifications exploded. Is this you? Oh my God, are you okay? That billionaire is disgusting. The video played on repeat, her face frozen in vulnerability. His words twisted into weapons. The internet had decided the story before she could speak her truth, fat-shamed by a billionaire. The caption burned into her retinas, comments poured in like acid. Cancel him. She deserves better. Rich men think they can say anything. Harper closed her eyes as the bus hummed around her. She knew something the world didn't. His voice hadn't dripped with cruelty. His eyes hadn't mocked her. He had looked at her like she mattered. But the internet didn't care about nuance. Outrage moved faster than truth. At 6 a.m, Declan's assistant called in a panic. Check your phone now. The headlines screamed his name. His inbox overflowed with crisis management emails. The board demanded answers. His company's stock began to wobble. He watched the video. He saw himself frozen in a moment, stripped of context. Heard his own words, weaponized. Disgusting. Boycott Ward Tech. He should lose everything. Declan set down his phone and stared at the city skyline. He had tried to protect her. Instead, he'd made everything worse. His assistant's voice crackled through the speaker. Legal wants to issue a statement. PR wants you to apologize. The board wants you silent. And what do you want? He asked quietly. I want to know what you were thinking. Declan closed his eyes. He saw Harper's face again. Saw the tremble in her fingers. Felt the instinct that made him speak without thinking. I was thinking, he said slowly, that she looked like she needed someone to stand between her and the wolves. While his assistant replied, Now the wolves are coming for you both. 3 days later. A letter arrived at Harper's apartment. Plain envelope. Expensive paper. No return address. Inside, a single handwritten note. I'm sorry for what happened. I never meant to hurt you. If you're willing to talk, I'd like to explain. No cameras. No statements. Just the truth. Declan at the bottom. A phone number. Harper held the letter in trembling hands. Outside her window, Seattle drizzled gray and cold. Her phone still buzzed with strangers, debating her worth. She looked at the number for a long time. Then she picked up her phone and dialed. He answered on the first ring. Hello. Harper's voice came out smaller than she wanted. You said you'd explain. Silence stretched between them like a bridge neither knew how to cross. I did, he said softly. Will you let me? She closed her eyes, took a breath that felt like jumping off a cliff. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Pike Place Market alone. I'll be there. Harper hung up before she could change her mind. What she didn't know was that someone else had seen them in that boutique. Someone who recognized opportunity when viral moments collided, and they were already planning how to use it. Pike Place Market smelled of salt water and fresh flowers. Harper arrived early, hands shoved deep in her jacket pockets, watching tourists take selfies with fish vendors. Declan appeared at exactly 2 o'clock, wearing a plain gray sweater and jeans. No security. No entourage. Just a man who looked like he hadn't slept in days. They stood 5 feet apart, strangers bound by a moment that belonged to the world now. "Thank you for coming," he said. Harper crossed her arms. "I'm only here because I need to understand. Everyone thinks you humiliated me. But that's not what happened, is it?" Declan's jaw tightened. "No, that's not what happened." "Then tell me. Because right now, millions of people hate you for something I don't even fully understand." He gestured toward a quieter corner away from the crowd. They walked in silence until they found a bench overlooking Elliott Bay. Gray water stretched toward gray sky. Declan sat first, elbows on his knees, staring at the horizon. 3 years ago, my wife died, he said quietly. Cancer. The kind that moves fast and takes everything. Harper's breath caught. "I'm sorry. She was my entire world. And when she was sick, when she was losing weight and losing strength, people stared. They whispered. They made her feel like she was disappearing even before she actually did." His voice cracked. Harper felt something shift in her chest. "I saw you standing there," Declan continued, "and I saw them circling you like you were entertainment. I saw those girls filming. I saw that salesperson enjoying your discomfort. And I just needed it to stop. So you said you'd marry me if I fit the dress. I know how it sounded, but I was trying to make them look at me instead of you. I thought if I said something ridiculous enough, they'd forget about you and focus on the spectacle instead." Harper stared at him. "You were trying to protect me. Badly, apparently." He finally looked at her. His eyes were storm gray and exhausted. "I made everything worse. I'm sorry." Silence settled between them like fog. "My grandmother told me something once," Harper said softly. "She said the cruelest thing about being judged for your body is that people think they're allowed to comment on it. Like your existence is an invitation for opinions." Declan nodded slowly. "My wife said something similar." "What was her name?" "Alina." Harper watched a seagull circle overhead. "I believe you. About your intentions. But the internet doesn't care about intentions. I know. So what do we do now?" Declan turned to face her fully. "We could ignore it. Let it blow over. You disappear back into your life. I disappear into mine. Or we tell the truth. Together, face the cameras. Explain what actually happened." Harper's stomach twisted. "The internet will tear us apart. Probably. They'll say I'm being paid off. That you're manipulating me. Almost certainly." She laughed bitterly. "So why would I agree to that?" Declan met her eyes. "Because I think you're tired of being misunderstood. And so am I." Before Harper could respond, her phone buzzed. Then again, and again she pulled it out. Her face went pale. "What is it?" Harper's hands shook as she showed him the screen. A new video had just gone viral. Someone had filmed them at the market. The caption read, "Billionaire and dress girl spotted together. Is this a PR stunt?" "They followed us," Harper whispered. Declan's expression hardened. He scanned the crowd. Too many phones. Too many eyes. They'd been idiots to meet in public. "We need to leave. Now." They stood quickly, but Harper froze. Across the market, a woman was walking toward them with purpose. Expensive coat. Designer sunglasses. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Declan," the woman called out. What a surprise. Declan's entire body went rigid. "Victoria." Harper looked between them. "Who is that?" "My former business partner," Declan said quietly. "And the person who's been leaking stories to the press?" Victoria stopped in front of them, removing her sunglasses. I prefer the term concerned colleague. After all, someone needs to protect Ward Tech's reputation while you're busy playing hero to strangers. What do you want? Declan's voice was ice. Victoria's smile widened. I want what I've always wanted. Control of the company you've been running into the ground with your grief. The board already doubts you. This scandal is just proof that you're not fit to lead. Harper stepped forward. You leaked the video? I shared what was already public, sweetheart. The internet did the rest. Victoria turned back to Declan. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to step down as CEO. I'll take over. And this whole mess disappears. And if I refuse, then I release the rest of the footage from that boutique. The parts that show you following her to 3 other stores before you worked up the courage to approach her. The parts that make you look like a stalker instead of a savior. Harper's blood went cold. You've been following him? Following the story, dear. It's called investigative journalism. Victoria checked her watch. You have 24 hours to decide, Declan. Your company or your conscience. Choose wisely. She walked away, heels clicking on cobblestone. Harper turned to Declan. Is it true? Were you following me? Declan closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were filled with something that looked like shame. Yes, after the boutique, I saw you leave. And I wanted to make sure you got home safely. I wanted to apologize right then, but I didn't know how. So I kept my distance and just watched to make sure nobody else bothered you. That's not protection, Declan. That's surveillance. No. I know how it looks. But I swear to you, I wasn't trying to control you or manipulate you. I was just trying to fix what I'd broken. Harper stepped backward. I need to think, Harper, please. You have 24 hours to save your company. I have 24 hours to figure out if I can trust you. Her voice shook. Don't contact me until you decide what matters more. She turned and walked into the crowd, leaving Declan standing alone as rain began to fall. That night, Harper sat in her apartment staring at her phone. New messages flooded in every minute. Then one caught her attention. A text from an unknown number. He's not who you think he is. Meet me tomorrow if you want the real truth about Declan Ward. Come alone. Harper stared at the message, her heart pounding. Someone else had secrets, and she had less than 24 hours to decide whose truth to believe. The address led Harper to a coffee shop in Capitol Hill. Exposed brick walls, jazz playing low. The kind of place where people had quiet affairs and quieter betrayals. A woman sat in the back corner, mid-30s, sharp blazer, kind eyes that made Harper's guard drop just enough. Harper. The woman stood, extending her hand. I'm Sarah Chen. I used to work for Declan. Harper hesitated, then shook her hand. Why did you want to meet? Sarah gestured to the seat across from her. Because I know what Victoria's planning, and I know what Declan's hiding. You deserve to know both before you make any decisions. I'm listening. Sarah pulled out a tablet, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. Declan told you about his wife, Alina. What he didn't tell you is how she died. Harper's chest tightened. Cancer, he said, cancer. That's partly true. Sarah turned the tablet toward Harper. Medical records. News articles. A police report. Alina Ward died from an overdose. Painkillers prescribed for her cancer treatment. The medical examiner ruled it accidental, but Declan blamed himself. He'd been working overseas. She was alone. And when he found her, it destroyed him. Harper's hands trembled. Why are you telling me this? Because Victoria's going to leak this tomorrow if Declan doesn't step down. She'd paint him as a negligent husband who let his wife die. She'll say he's unstable, dangerous, not fit to run a company or be around vulnerable women. That's cruel. That's business. Sarah closed the tablet. But here's what Victoria doesn't know. Declan has been secretly funding addiction recovery programs across the state for 3 years. Anonymous donations. Millions of dollars. He's trying to save other families from what happened to his. Harper pressed her palms against the table. So he's not a monster? He's just broken, aren't we all? Sarah leaned forward. But there's more. The reason Declan was following you that day wasn't random. He'd seen you before. What do you mean? 6 months ago, you volunteered at a community center in Ballard. You taught art classes to kids. Alina used to volunteer there too, before she got sick. Declan went back to that center after she died, and he saw you there teaching, laughing with the kids, being exactly the kind of person Alina was. Harper's breath caught. He knew who I was, not your name, not your story. But he recognized your face. And when he saw you in that boutique being humiliated, something in him snapped. All the regret about Alina, all the times he wasn't there to protect her. It came flooding back. So I'm what? Some kind of replacement? No. Sarah's voice was firm. You're a second chance. For both of you. Harper stood abruptly, her chair scraping against hardwood. I need air. She pushed outside into cold evening wind. Sarah followed. I know this is a lot, Sarah said, but you need to decide. If you walk away now, Victoria wins. Declan loses everything. And this moment that brought you together becomes just another viral scandal people forget in a week. And if I stay, then you fight. Together. You tell your story. The real one. And maybe, just maybe, you both get to heal. Harper closed her eyes. What do you get out of this? Why do you care? Sarah was quiet for a moment. Because Alina was my best friend. And I watched Declan destroy himself trying to honor her memory. You're the first person who's made him feel something other than guilt in 3 years. I'm not saying you owe him anything, but I am saying he's not the villain everyone thinks he is. Harper's phone buzzed. A text from Declan. I've made my decision. Meet me at my office. 8 p.m. I need to show you something. She looked at Sarah. Is he going to step down? I don't know. But I know he won't make this choice without you understanding why. Ward Tech headquarters rose like a glass cathedral in downtown Seattle. Harper's reflection fractured across revolving doors as she entered. Security let her through. An elevator climbed silently to the 40th floor. Declan stood in his office, staring at the city lights below. He turned when she entered. You came? I almost didn't. Harper stayed near the door. I talked to Sarah. Doubt it. She texted me. Declan moved to his desk, picking up a sealed envelope. I'm going to step down. Victoria wins. The scandal ends. You get your life back. Just like that? Just like that. He held out the envelope. This is my resignation. I'll announce it tomorrow morning. You'll be free to disappear. No more cameras. No more headlines. Harper didn't take the envelope. And what about you? I'll figure it out. I always do. That's not an answer. Declan set the envelope down. The truth. I'll probably fall apart. This company is all I have left. But it's not worth dragging you through more hell. So you're sacrificing everything to protect me. Yes. Even though we barely know each other. Yes. Harper walked to the window. Looking out at Seattle sprawled below them. Sarah told me about Alina. About the center. About how you recognized me. Declan went still. I wasn't trying to manipulate you, I know. Harper turned to face him. But I need you to be honest with me right now. Is this guilt? Are you trying to save me because you couldn't save her? Declan's composure cracked. Maybe at first, but not anymore. Then what is it? He crossed the distance between them slowly, stopping just close enough that she could feel the heat of him. It's the way you looked at me in that market and believed me when the whole world called me a liar. It's the way you're standing here right now, even though you have every reason to walk away. It's the fact that you're not asking me to be perfect. You're just asking me to be honest. Harper's heart hammered against her ribs. I'm terrified. Of what? That I'm falling for someone the internet says I should hate. That I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. That tomorrow I'll wake up and regret everything. Declan reached for her hand slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. I'm terrified too, he whispered. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe and alone. The office door burst open. Victoria stood in the doorway, phone raised, recording. Perfect timing. Behind her, a camera crew. Harper jerked backward, but Declan's hand tightened on hers. What are you doing? Declan's voice was dangerous. Victoria smiled like a predator. Giving the people what they want. The billionaire and the dress girl. A love story built on scandal. This is going to be the biggest story of the year. Can't just film us without permission. Actually, I can. You're in a corporate building. No expectation of privacy. And besides, Harper signed a release form when she entered tonight. Harper's blood went cold. What? Victoria pulled out her phone, showing a digital signature. Harper's name, her handwriting. Security had you sign in downstairs, remember? You thought it was a visitor log? It was a media release. Declan stepped in front of Harper. Delete that footage now, or what? You'll sue me? By the time lawyers get involved, this will have 50 million views. Victoria gestured to her camera crew. Get closer. I want to see their faces when they realize they're trapped. Harper looked at Declan, saw the fury in his eyes, the helplessness. There's another option, Harper said quietly. Everyone turned to her. She stepped out from behind Declan, facing the camera directly. You want a story? Fine, but you're going to hear the truth. All of it. No editing. No manipulation. Just two people who met in the worst possible way, trying to figure out if something real can come from something broken. 8. Victoria lowered her phone slightly. You're bluffing. Try me. Harper's voice was steel. Because I have nothing left to lose. You've already turned me into a headline. Might as well make it a good one. Declan stared at her. Harper, you don't have to do this. She looked at him. Yes, I do. Because I'm done letting other people tell my story. Victoria's smile returned. All right then. Let's make television history. Okay. But as the cameras rolled and Harper began to speak, none of them noticed the figure watching from the doorway. Sarah Chen, recording everything on her own phone. Insurance for the betrayal. She knew was coming. The interview aired at midnight, unedited. Raw, Harper and Declan, sitting side by side. Telling the story the world never heard, Harper spoke first. I walked into that boutique feeling invisible. I walked out feeling like everyone could see me, and that was somehow worse. But Declan wasn't laughing at me. He was trying to redirect attention away from me. Why should anyone believe that? Victoria's voice came from behind the camera, sharp and probing. Because I was there, Harper said simply. And I know cruelty when I see it. What I saw in his eyes wasn't cruelty. It was recognition. Like he understood what it felt like to be reduced to something you're not. Declan spoke next, his voice low and steady. My wife died 3 years ago, alone. While I was on the other side of the world putting business before the person I loved most, I can't fix that. But when I saw Harper being humiliated for existing in a space people thought she didn't belong, I couldn't walk away. I made a stupid, impulsive choice, and I'd make it again. The camera zoomed closer. So this is guilt. You're using Harper to absolve yourself. No. Declan looked at Harper. This is honesty. I'm not trying to save her. I'm trying to understand why she's willing to give someone like me a second chance when the world says she shouldn't. 8. Harper's eyes glistened. Because second chances are the only reason any of us survive. The footage ended there. But it was enough. By morning, the internet had split into two camps. Those who believed them, and those who thought it was the greatest PR manipulation of the decade. Harper sat in her apartment, watching the sunrise paint her walls amber and gold. Her phone had been ringing nonstop. Interview requests, book deals, people wanting to turn their story into a movie. She ignored all of it. Declan arrived at 7 with coffee and dark circles under his eyes. Did you sleep? Harper asked, letting him inside. Double quotes, no. You? Not really. They sat on her worn couch in comfortable silence. Outside, the city woke up. Traffic hummed. Birds sang. Life continued as if the world hadn't just watched them bare their souls on camera. Victoria called, Declan said finally. The board voted this morning. I'm out. She's the new CEO of Ward Tech. Harper set down her coffee. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was always going to end this way. He turned to her. But there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said from the beginning. The dress. The emerald one. I bought it. The day after the boutique incident. Before everything went viral, Harper blinked. Why? Because I wanted you to have something beautiful that was yours. Not something you had to earn or justify or apologize for. Just something that existed because you exist. Her throat tightened. Where is it? Declan pulled out his phone, showing her a receipt. In a storage unit downtown. I was going to send it anonymously. But then everything exploded. I didn't want you to think I was trying to buy forgiveness. I don't think that. What do you think? Harper reached for his hand. I think you're the first person who ever saw me as more than a body to judge or a story to tell. And that terrifies me. Because what if this is just trauma bonding? What if 6 months from now we realize we have nothing in common except a viral video? Declan squeezed her hand. Then we'll have 6 months of trying. That's more than most people get. Before Harper could respond, her grandmother appeared in the doorway, wrapped in her knitted shawl.
Harper, dear.
There's someone at the door for you. They exchanged glances, then walked to the entrance. Sarah Chen stood in the hallway, laptop in hand, face pale. We have a problem. Inside. Sarah opened her laptop. Victoria didn't just want control of Ward Tech. She wanted revenge. 3 years ago, Declan rejected a proposal of hers. A project that would have made billions but destroyed thousands of jobs. She's never forgiven him. What does this have to do with us? Harper asked. Sarah pulled up a video file. This is footage from the boutique. The full, unedited version Victoria's been sitting on. She pressed play. The video showed everything. The influencers mocking Harper. The salesperson's cruelty. Declan entering. But then, it showed something else. Something Harper had forgotten in the chaos. After Declan made his statement, after the crowd erupted, Victoria had been there. In the background, whispering to the influencer, handing her money, orchestrating the whole thing to go viral. She planned this, Declan breathed. From the beginning, yes, she knew you'd be at the center that day. She'd been tracking your schedule for months. When she saw Harper walk into the boutique, she saw an opportunity. She paid those girls to film. She made sure the video spread. She turned a moment of protection into a scandal. Harper felt sick. Why? Because she knew Declan would try to fix it. And in trying to fix it, he'd expose himself, make himself vulnerable, give her the ammunition she needed to take his company. Declan stood abruptly, pacing. We need to release this. Show everyone what really happened. Can't, Sarah said quietly. Victoria has lawyers. The footage is technically her property. If we leak it, she'll sue for everything you have left. And she'll bury Harper in legal fees until she has nothing. So we're trapped, Les Sarah said slowly. We give her what she wants. Declan turned. What are you talking about? Victoria doesn't just want your company. She wants your reputation destroyed. Your legacy erased. Everything Alina built with you turned to ashes. Sarah looked at Harper. But what if we offered her something better? Something that would make her look like a hero instead of a villain. I'm listening. Sarah pulled out a contract. Ward Tech is hemorrhaging money. The scandal cost millions in stock value. If Victoria takes over now, she inherits a sinking ship. But if you offered to merge with her new venture, bring your reputation and connections to her company, she becomes the savior who rescued a fallen billionaire. You want me to work for her? I want you to sacrifice your pride to protect Harper. Because if you release that footage and go to war with Victoria, Harper becomes collateral damage. She'll be dragged through courts and headlines for years. Sarah looked between them. This way, you both walk away, damaged but alive. Harper stood. No. Everyone looked at her. No, she repeated. I'm not letting Declan give up everything because of me. That's not protection. That's martyrdom. Harper Declan started. Listen to me. She grabbed his shoulders. You spent 3 years punishing yourself for not saving, Lena. Don't spend the next 3 punishing yourself for trying to save me. I can survive headlines. I've survived worse. What I can't survive is watching you erase yourself to keep me safe. I can't let you get hurt. Then don't. Fight with me. Not for me. Harper turned to Sarah. There has to be another way. Sarah closed her laptop slowly. There is, but it's dangerous, and it requires you to trust me completely. Tell us. Victoria's new company is built on investor money. Money she secured by promising them access to Ward Tech's patents and technology. If those patents suddenly became worthless, her entire empire collapses before it begins. Declan's eyes widened. You want me to open source everything? Give away 3 decades of research and development. Yes. Make it free. Make it public. Make it impossible for Victoria to monetize. She loses everything. You lose your legacy. But Harper walks away free. Harper looked at Declan, saw the grief in his eyes, the weight of what Sarah was asking. That technology is Elena's legacy too, Declan whispered. We built it together. It's all I have left of her, I know. Sarah's voice broke. And I'm sorry, but she would have chosen Harper's freedom over corporate patents. You know she would have. Declan closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were red, but clear. Do it. Release everything. Burn it all down if that's what it takes. Declan, no, Harper pleaded. There has to be another way. He cupped her face gently. You said fight with you, not for you. This is me fighting. This is me choosing what matters. Your wife's legacy matters. So do you. He pressed his forehead to hers. Elena would understand. She always said legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you make possible for others. If giving this away means you get to live your life without looking over your shoulder, then that's the legacy I want. Harper's tears fell hot and fast. I don't deserve this. That's where you're wrong. Declan smiled through his own tears. You deserve everything. Sarah stood. I'll need 24 hours to prepare the release. Once it's public, there's no taking it back. I understand. Harper and Declan remained tangled together on the couch as morning light flooded the apartment. What happens after? Harper whispered. When the dust settles and you have nothing left? Declan pulled back to look at her. I have you. If you'll have me. This is crazy. We barely know each other, and let's change that. Starting now. Starting today. Tell me everything. Your favorite color? Your worst fear. The dreams you've never said out loud. Harper laughed through her tears. Green, like that dress. Being forgotten. And I want to teach art to kids who think they're not talented enough to create. Then we'll make that happen. After this is over, after Victoria falls and the world moves on, we'll build something new. Together. Promise? Promise. They sealed it with a kiss that tasted like coffee and hope in the beginning of something neither of them could name but both of them desperately needed. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, 2 broken people began to heal. But in a corporate office across town, Victoria smiled at her phone. She'd just received an anonymous tip about Sarah's plan, and she was already 3 steps ahead, 20-4 hours before the patent release. Victoria made her move. She called a press conference. Every major outlet attended. The conference room buzzed with anticipation as cameras focused on the podium. Victoria stepped forward in a crimson suit, victorious and venomous. Thank you all for coming. I'm here to address the Ward Tech situation and reveal the truth about Declan Ward's recent behavior. Harper watched from her apartment. Declan beside her, Sarah on speakerphone. She's going to bury you, Sarah warned. Whatever she says next will be designed to destroy you before you can release those patents, Victoria continued. Declan Ward has been planning to sabotage my company by releasing proprietary technology to the public. Technology that belongs to shareholders. Technology that represents billions in value. This isn't generosity. It's corporate terrorism. The crowd erupted with questions. But there's more, Victoria said, silencing them. The woman at the center of this scandal, Harper Lowe, has been working with Mr. Ward to orchestrate this entire situation. The boutique. The viral video. The emotional interview. all of it calculated to gain public sympathy while he dismantles the company from within. Harper's blood went cold. That's a lie. I have proof, Victoria announced, pulling up a screen behind her. It showed text messages. Harper's number. Declan's number. Conversations about meeting in secret, about planning their next move, about manipulating public opinion. But Harper recognized them immediately. They were real messages stripped of context and rearranged to tell a different story. She hacked our phones, Declan growled. Victoria wasn't finished. Harper Lowe is not a victim. She's an accomplice. And together, they've defrauded the public, manipulated the media, and attempted to destroy a Fortune 500 company. Harper stood, shaking. We need to go there now. We need to stop this. It's too late, Sarah said through the phone. By the time you get downtown, the narrative is set. She wins. Declan grabbed his keys anyway. I don't care. I'm not letting Harper take the fall for my choices. But Harper stopped him. Her eyes had cleared. Her hands had stopped trembling. Wait, what did Victoria just say? They rewound the live stream. Harper Lowe is not a victim. She's an accomplice. Harper smiled slowly. She made a mistake. What are you talking about? She called me an accomplice, which means she's admitting a crime occurred. She's just claiming I'm part of it instead of a victim of it. Can you get that boutique footage to every news outlet in the next 5 minutes? The footage Victoria owns? She'll sue. No, she won't. Because the moment she accuses me of conspiracy, she opens herself up to discovery. Every email, every payment, every plan she made, it all becomes evidence. Declan stared at her. You're going to force her hand. I'm going to call her bluff. Harper grabbed her coat. Sarah, send the footage. Send everything. Every piece of evidence showing Victoria paid those influencers. Show the world who really orchestrated this. Harper, this could backfire. If the courts side with her, you'll lose everything. I already have nothing. What's she going to take? My viral infamy? Harper looked at Declan. You were willing to sacrifice your legacy for me. Let me return the favor. She was out the door before he could stop her. Harper burst into the press conference with security trying to hold her back. Cameras swiveled. Victoria's smile faltered. Ms. Lowe, you can't be here. Actually, I can. You just accused me of fraud on national television. I'm here to defend myself. The room went silent. Harper walked to the podium, her heart hammering but her voice steady. Everything Victoria just said is a lie, and I can prove it. She pulled out her phone, connecting it to the conference screen. The boutique footage played. The full version. Victoria in the background. Money changing hands. The influencers laughing as they pocketed cash. This is Victoria Chen orchestrating the viral moment that started everything. She paid those girls. She made sure I was humiliated. She turned a moment of cruelty into a weapon to destroy Declan Ward. Victoria lunged forward. That footage is stolen. This is defamation.
No.
Sarah's voice came through the speakers as she appeared on a video call projected on the screen. This is evidence. Evidence I've already submitted to the FBI. Victoria, you're under investigation for corporate espionage, fraud, and conspiracy. The room erupted. Victoria's face went white. You can't prove anything. I can prove everything. Sarah's face was calm. I've been documenting your actions for 3 years. Every bribe, every manipulation, every law you broke trying to take down Declan. I was never on your side. I was Elena's friend. And I made her a promise before she died that I'd protect the man she loved from people like you. Security moved toward Victoria. She looked at Harper with pure hatred. You think you've won? You're still just the fat girl from a viral video. That's all you'll ever be. Harper stepped closer, her voice dropping to something quiet and dangerous. I'm the woman who stood up to a billionaire's schemes and won. I'm the woman who chose courage over comfort. And I'm the woman who's going to watch you lose everything you stole. Victoria was escorted out in handcuffs. The press conference dissolved into chaos. Harper walked outside, into cool Seattle air. Her legs trembling, her heart racing. Declan was waiting on the steps. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it." Harper collapsed into his arms. "Is it over? Is it really over?" "Not quite." Declan pulled back, reaching into his pocket. He held up a key. "There's still one thing left to do." The storage unit smelled like cardboard and dust. Declan unlocked the door, revealing a single garment bag hanging in the center of the empty space. The emerald dress. Harper approached it slowly, unzipping the bag with trembling fingers. The fabric shimmered under fluorescent lights, just as beautiful as she remembered. "Try it on," Declan said quietly. "What?" "You heard me. Try it on. Not because anyone's watching. Not because the internet demands it. Just because you want to." Harper stared at the dress, then at him. "What if it doesn't fit?" "Then it doesn't fit, and we'll find one that does. Or we won't, and you'll still be exactly who you are." Declan stepped closer. "But I made you a promise in that boutique, and I intend to keep it." Harper's breath caught. "You weren't serious?" "I was deadly serious." He reached for her hand. "Harper Lowe, if you can fit in that dress, or if you can't. If the world loves you or hates you, if we make sense or we're completely insane, I want to spend my life figuring this out with you. Will you marry me?" Harper's tears came fast and fierce. "We barely know each other. Then we have a lifetime to learn. The internet will explode again. Let it. We'll be too busy living to notice." "This is crazy. I know." Declan smiled. "Is that a yes?" Harper looked at the dress, looked at the man who tried to protect her in the clumsiest, most impossible way, looked at the future stretching ahead of them, uncertain and terrifying and full of possibility. She pulled the dress from the bag and held it against her body. It fit perfectly. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, it's a yes." Declan kissed her then. Deep and desperate and full of promises neither of them knew how to keep, but both of them were willing to try. Outside, the city hummed with new headlines. "Billionaire proposes to viral video girl. Corporate villain arrested in elaborate scheme." Love story emerges from scandal, but inside that storage unit, two people who'd been broken by the world found each other in the ruins, decided to build something beautiful from the wreckage. Harper wore the emerald dress to their wedding 6 months later. Small ceremony. Close friends. Sarah as the maid of honor. Harper's grandmother crying in the front row. No cameras. No influencers. No viral moments. Just two people who'd survived the worst of humanity and chosen to believe in the best of each other. Declan's new company launched a year later. Technology made free for schools and nonprofits. Elena's legacy transformed into something that helped millions. Harper opened an art studio for underprivileged kids, teaching them that creativity wasn't about being good enough. It was about being brave enough to try. They fought sometimes, disagreed often, struggled with the weight of their pasts more than they cared to admit, but they fought together, disagreed with respect, and held each other through the nights when the ghosts of old wounds whispered that they weren't enough. 5 years later, Harper stood in front of a new emerald dress, this one smaller child, dash-sized. Their daughter wore it to her first dance recital, and as Harper watched from the audience, Declan's hand warm in hers, she thought about that afternoon in the boutique, how a moment of cruelty had been transformed by an act of clumsy kindness, how a viral scandal had become a love story.
How?
Sometimes the worst things that happen to us become the doors that lead us home. She leaned into Declan's shoulder and whispered, "Thank you. For what? For seeing me when everyone else was just looking?" Declan kissed her temple. "Thank you for giving a broken man a reason to heal." Their daughter danced across the stage, fearless and free, and in the audience, two survivors smiled because they'd learned the truth that no algorithm could capture and no viral moment could define. Real love isn't found in perfect moments. It's built in the broken ones. The end.